Seattle just surrendered.
Cities, unless your police are backed by the Marines, safety just isn't a thing. As a couple days ago, Washington police were outnumbered by the mobs and are chased off the streets. As activists set up these large...
It's so sad because I wanted to move to like one of these places, like Washington or Oregon. I would have loved to live there just because it's so pretty. There's like so much forest. It's like kind of like still like the coastal, like West Coast weather, where it's not as humid and it still gets a lot of rain, especially like up in the north. There's like tons of mushrooms. You have the ocean, like, you know, the Pacific Ocean, mushrooms, hunting, like all sorts of stuff there. And then I still have access to like, you know, Asian cooking ingredients. Like it would have been so perfect. But why do these people always control these places? It's why do they do this?
Federal buildings. And even though the riot police easily dismantled their garbage heap, eventually the police start to seemingly retreat. As these idiots rebuild that same barricade.
Man.
So knowing this, Katie Davis Court from the Post Millennial and Cam Higbee bravely go back out to Seattle to document the destruction, as the rioters try to set fire to the federal building. But mainly, just kept a tiny bonfire on the street, attempting to block traffic from going by. As Jonathan Cho shows us, Seattle is just a scene out of Mad Max if it was a Lifetime original movie. But obviously, they're too afraid to block this garbage truck.
Can you imagine being that guy? Like, you're just trying to do your job. You're a freaking garbage man trying to do your job, and then these freaking freaks are blocking the street.
Or even these armored cyber trucks.
Wait, only consider Montana if you're fine with crazy housing prices? Wait, are houses expensive in Montana? I thought they would be really cheap in Montana. They're expensive? Spider tails? What? Why?
Or even this random SUV with a family.
I don't want to live in a city anyway, so.
Inside, floated right through their group. Even though it looked like this guy got hit, he just tripped trying to throw a cone at the SUV that already sped away. As the only car they successfully stopped was some scared girl who apparently had...
Was it Texas that had like a law where if protesters surround your car, that you can defend yourself by using your car as a weapon? Is that true? Is that Florida? Yeah, because I would be like really scared if I were like in a situation like this and like these guys like started banging on my car and surrounding me. Yeah.
To abandon her vehicle at a fair,
really worried.
Which begs the question, what does a random girl, a family, and a garbage truck have to do with Donald Trump's deportations? Absolutely nothing, but where were the cops during all of this? Apparently they were stationed nearby, but didn't seem to make any major arrests.
In Madison, that's where all the Antifa militants are now waiting.
Man.
As their local police chief seems focused on protecting the protesters.
How will SPD show up under your leadership to serve and protect our residents when Seattleites are protesting the federal administration and are facing the U.S. military on the streets of Seattle?
Dude, it's so crazy, like how they go out. Man, it's so crazy, like how much they want to protect like criminals and bad actors, and then they're just like they don't care about the citizens. It's so weird. How did this happen?
Do everything in my power. I want to be clear to protect anyone in Seattle from anyone who comes to this city with the intention to hurt them or inhibit their First Amendment rights.
It's not really First Amendment anymore at that point. Once you're enacting violence, that's not a part of the First Amendment. First Amendment doesn't allow you to wild out like this.
At some point, I will probably go to jail and be in prison.
So sadly, as Cam Higbee was recording the riots, the mob attacked him.
Wait, what? Did he say that he's gonna go to jail?
At some point, I will probably go to jail.
In fact, the funny thing is, guys, I keep noticing this, all right? This is so ridiculous because they don't really care about, like, they're completely fine with impeding the First Amendment rights of your everyday citizen. But then, like, now they care about it. Now they care about it to protect their citizens. I mean, to protect the protesters specifically. Like, what is that? There's an insane amount of just like hypocrisy, basically, where they'll say something like, oh, like, you're impeding on my First Amendment rights. But then they're actually the ones that do that. They're like, oh, like, you know, you're a fascist, but they're the ones using fascist tactics. Oh, you're racist, but then they're actually the ones that are racist. Like, it just keeps happening. It's like the people that cry about it the most and they virtue signal the most, every single time, they're always shown as the worst people.
And be in prison.
So sadly, as Cam Higbee was recording the riots, the mob attacked him.
Let him go through.
As bootleg Batman did absolutely nothing to stop it. With Cam's helmet showing the damage of the attack, waking up the next morning with a random nosebleed as he definitely had a concussion. And that's the official strategy they've adopted. They know what they're doing at best is dumb, and at worst is a felony. So just like we saw in Los Angeles, they've begun attacking anybody who dares record their crimes.
The freedom of the press, people. They care so much about like truth and light and like you know, oh, like we should record stuff because it's important. The media.
But since Trump showed up the local police with his Marines, LAPD finally took back the city. So what about places like Seattle, where Trump isn't necessarily focusing his ICE raids? Sadly,
Dorian,
both Cam and Katie reported that the police were being hands-off in protecting the federal building. And since you didn't see the attacks on the streets of Seattle on the mainstream media, the only people that would show us are being beaten in the streets with little to no protection from the mob. And although you do hear these anti-police activists chanting, we can police ourselves, just look at what happened at the No Kings protest in Salt Lake City, where one person lost
I didn't even hear about this.
Their life. They got lucky that the shooter was an idiot and someone snatched his backpack with the weapon still inside as he tried to hide in plain sight.
It's a rifle right here.
So wait, what happened? Hold on. I don't know the story. So somebody got shot at the Utah No Kings protest, and they were trying to find the guy who shot, right? Wait, hold on. What happened here? He wasn't the shooter. It was friendly fire?
Hey, this guy, I just grabbed this from this guy.
Okay, hold on. What's the update and story of the guy in Utah No Kings protest that shot someone? Yeah, Grok, is this real? Chad, is this real? All right, two armed individual in the high visibility to be part of the event's peacekeeping to observe government acting suspiciously. They drove him behind a wall, pulled it from the backpack, and manipulated it. When he was confronted or dropped the weapon, they raised the rifle. Oh. What? Is there like a video on this? Hold on.
When they arrived, they found a man down with a gunshot wound, again, life-saving. Two SWAT medics were seen very quickly and provided those life-saving fire. Despite their efforts, the victim...
Oh, he did. Oh, he died.
For the victim, our preliminary investigation shows that he had a minor gunshot wound and was hiding in a group of people. At the time of his arrest, officers also recovered an AR-15-style rifle, gas mask. Gamboa was treated and later booked into jail on charge.
Oh shit.
At the time of the incident, we also detained two other individuals. These individuals were wearing high visibility neon vests and were armed, possibly part of event peacekeeping. Based on early witness.
There's like so much irony here. I just can't handle it. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. Peacekeeping team, yeah.
Men saw Gamboa separate from the crowd when putting the march and move behind a wall where they noticed him pull out a rifle and begin manipulating it. Gamboa was then confronted by these two men. Witnesses say Gamboa raised the weapon in a firing position and began running toward the crowd.
Oh shit.
One of the individuals fired 3 rounds, striking Gamboa and tragic striking.
Wait, so he just shot a random person? So one of them, like, I don't know, he was like LARPing or some shit, and like he pulled out his gun and he started walking around with his gun rifle up, which, by the way, you never do that. You don't point your gun at you don't fucking point your gun at people, because people have no choice but to assume that you're being violent. Like you don't walk around with your gun and like like ready, pointed at people. Like, because again, people don't have the time to make a decision. You know, if for instance, if someone points a gun at me and I don't know them, I have no choice but to assume they're going to shoot me, right? Because like I don't have time to be like to analyze it further. Because if he pulls a trigger, then it can kill me. Or if he pulls the trigger, he can kill me or anyone around me. So I don't really have the time to be like, you know, if they're not like a police officer, right? I don't really have the time to try to discern this person's motives. That's instantly like a lethal threat, basically. An imminent threat. Yeah, shoot or be shot. Yeah. Wait, he didn't raise his gun. Apparently the peacekeeper just started blasting. It says Phoenix down on kick. Wait, so this account, so what the police are saying right now isn't even real. Allegedly. I don't know. Man accused of murder at Salt Lake City, No Kings protest, the Andy No article here that you guys were talking about. A Latino radical leftist and alleged Antifa supporter has been charged with murder after allegedly causing the conditions that resulted in a Samoan man being killed at Salt Lake City No Kings protest June 14th. Arturo Gamboa, a 24-year-old member of the leftist Utah-based punk band Raid, was apprehended. Well, dude, he was in he's a band. He's in the band. Was apprehended at the scene wearing all black and having a semi-automatic rifle. A No Kings liberal peacekeeper volunteer with that's fucked up. Dude, his shots fired, dude. Like, I mean, literally and you know, mockingly. Volunteer with bad aim tried taking out Gamboa with 3 shots, but instead fatally wounded a bystander. By the way, if you fire a bullet, even in self-defense, you're responsible for where all of those bullets hit. So if you're gonna carry a gun, you better get good. You better get good yesterday. The peacekeeper may have seriously misjudged the situation. It is unclear if Gamboa was actively posing a threat. You have Gamboa here. So this is Gamboa, the guy that got shot. You can see he's carrying a rifle in like kind of a low ready position, but he has it like, it's not like slung. It's not like fully slung or anything. Like he's holding it, right? He's actually holding it in his hand. So what happens, oh my God, dude, he doesn't even have the gun. So he never raises the gun, but you know, again, a low ready position, right? So he basically is just carrying the gun like this, like this for like a couple more frames. He's just carrying the gun in like kind of low, and then it's pointed like kind of towards the ground. I don't know if he has a sling. It's kind of hard to tell because he's wearing all black, right? But he doesn't actually raise the gun at all in like the video. So what happens is they see him with the gun. So yellow vest, you know, he's walking. This is all caught on video, by the way, 100% on video. So there goes Gamboa. So by the way, this guy's not even looking at him. This guy is like kind of just walking down the street. And then the guy in the yellow vest. So we'll close this up now. The guy in the yellow vest down here just raises his gun and just start shooting him when he's like not even like looking at him. He's not looking at him. He's not raising his gun at the crowd or anything like that. He's just shooting it. He just sees him and like assumes that he's a threat and then just starts shooting him basically. And again, like you know, it is legal to open carry a rifle in Salt Lake City. So anyway, that's the context behind it. He missed, yeah. He missed and he hit people behind him. It should be easy. The peacekeeper shouldn't have a firearm. No, I mean, you should be responsible if you're going to do that. Like, if you're going to bring a gun to, like, a place like that and, like, with the intention of using lethal force against a threat, you should at least know the law, right? You should have known, like, ahead of time that, like, the guy, that you could open carry, like there, right? And you should be able to kind of make that determination. It probably would have been better for him to just reposition on the guy first, because the guy wasn't even looking at him, right? To just like kind of position like away from like the area that he was facing, and then wait for him to actually raise the gun, because you don't have an eye into the intent, right? That's like basically saying that if a person's carrying a gun on their hip, that they're a threat, right? Yeah, situational assessment. Yeah. All right, anyway, many left-wing activists are encouraged to believe that they are constantly under the threat of mass killings by MAGA white supremacists or police. Yeah. Which is crazy because, I mean, let's be real, like a lot of the political violence is coming from one side right now, right? Leading them to both open and concealed carry at events while in the state of paranoia. Yes. You have to have like sound mind when it comes to like how you're going to defend yourself and your, before you actually go out there, right? Like if you haven't like taken the time to think about, okay, like when am I going to actually, at what point do I draw my weapon? At what point do I fire? all of these things, you have to have already considered them ahead of time. Anyway, Arthur Ah Loo, a 39-year-old fashion designer, died from his injuries in hospital. Suspect Gamboa only suffered a graze wound. Gamboa previously told a publication Select Mag that he detested American global influence, citing racism, of course. Yeah, of course it's racism, right, guys? So he's like, you know, he's like super political. If you're unsure of what looks like, ask my man Arturo Gamboa. A kid has his rifle on or near him almost every protest, and he didn't shoot a single person. But I bet he deterred a lot of Rittenhouses. Are we still on this? We're still on the Rittenhouse thing of like the whole idea that Rittenhouse went out to go shoot people. Like, so he's the guy that got arrested here, correct? Is that Gamboa?
Protest in Salt Lake City, where one person lost their life. They got lucky that the shooter wasn't.
You know, this Gamboa guy, he probably should have like turned himself in or something, right? He probably should have been like, listen, like I didn't fucking do anything. This guy was shooting. I was worried about him, right? Like he should have just done that instead of like hide from the police. It seems like a bad play on his part, right?
An idiot.
But anyway, that's like the story. It looks like that's the story, is that this guy just carries a gun at like protests. And I mean, like, you know, the funny thing is they probably thought he looked really sus, right? They probably thought he looked really sus. So, you know, like in this picture, I mean, you can imagine this guy probably thought this guy looked really sus. But this guy was just walking around with his rifle, you know, open carrying. And this guy just was like, oh, MAGA extremist, and shot him? Like, that's crazy, man.
Someone snatched his backpack with the weapon still inside as he tried to hide in plain sight.
It's a rifle right here. Hey, right there. This guy, I just grabbed this from this guy. He's right there.
Yeah, skateboard guy didn't do anything wrong per se, but neither did Rittenhouse. They were both in understandable defense situations. You know, actually, I kind of agree with you on that. Rittenhouse had to protect himself from another guy. So he shot that guy. And then so a bunch of people basically pushed the narrative that Rittenhouse was shooting random people. So like the other people would attack him because they'd be like, well, he's a dangerous individual, right? So that's probably what happened, right? But the thing is like, it's so obvious that Rittenhouse wasn't, because he didn't even have his gun up, right? He was trying to walk to the police. So not really like a good judgment on the skateboard guy's part, right? Anyway.
But now, the local CBS affiliate headlines, peaceful protester died after being unintentionally shot by a designated peacekeeper at the protest. For being reportedly peaceful people that protest peacefully, they sure do violently end each other quite frequently. And just like the 2020 BLM Summer of Love, activists are already losing their lives over something they have zero chance of protesting their way into change. So what does the Los Angeles mayor say? The protests will continue until the raids stop.
But the real solution of all of this is for the administration to stop the raids. We have heard that these raids might take place for the next 30 days.
Oh my God. Guys, we should just give in. We should just, I know we've got the law, but we should just give in. We should just let them have what they want. You know, because they're mad. Because that's what happens when I get mad, I get what I want. When I throw a tantrum, I get exactly what I want.
We don't know how many are going to take place in a given day.
Then Trump goes online to reply, even though ICE agents are getting attacked by the Democrats, nothing will stop this, as they will now expand their efforts, especially in Chicago, New York, and Los Angeles. So it definitely looks like we're in for another summer of Democrat riots all across the country. Except these aren't about black lives, these are about the Democrats' new class of serfs.
Raids has really had a devastating effect and has been a body blow to our economy. I don't think the president understands that we have entire sectors of our economy that cannot function without immigrant labor.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking about a dysfunctioning economy while running the city into a $1 billion deficit, as now her residents are crying about their missing serfs.
So I'm in my beautiful city, LA, and I have friends texting me like all morning. My gardener didn't show up, my housekeeper didn't show up, my farmer's market was closed. Everyone's scared. And you 1%ers that only voted for Trump.
How is this real? How is this real, man? This is so crazy. You know, my gardener didn't show up either. Actually, I heard there was ice in the area, and yeah, I didn't see them.
Because of money? Guess what? You're gonna have to do your own dishes, or clean your own house, or mow your own lawn, and oh, that wonderful produce, the organic produce you get for your brunches? You're gonna actually have to do some work around your house.
Why do they...
What? What?
You're gonna have to do your own dishes, or clean your own house, or mow your own...
Wait, what? Yo, chat, don't we have a machine for that? There's a machine for that, right, chat?
own lawn, and oh, that wonderful produce.
No, it's not. It's called a woman. Women can use the machine to wash the dishes. We've had this forever.
Organic produce you get for your brunches? You're going to actually have to do some work around your house.
Why do they always go back to this?
Kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald?
They're just so racist. They're so racist. It's actually fucking crazy. Isn't it crazy? You kick every Latino? Oh yeah, because every Latino's illegal? Every Latino's illegal? This is crazy. You guys want to know a true story? I'm not going to say like the whole thing because like, you know, I'm not going to call anyone out or anything like that. But this actually happened to me last night where someone told me that I hate immigrants. Right. Someone told me that I hate immigrants. And I was like, where are you getting that from? And they said that like, why do you do that? Why do you do that when you're an immigrant yourself? And I was like, hold up. Wait, what? Hold up. I'm an immigrant? Wait, I'm an immigrant because I'm Asian? Wait. What? Oh man. Yeah, it's crazy. How does this keep happening? How does this keep happening?
Trump. Oh, that's not.
Sobbing, hands off our serfs is the absolute worst way to win over the masses.
No, I was born here. I've only lived in America.
Sadly, that's all they have left, as gone are the days that the Democrats represent the working class Americans, where they complain about the raids impacting farming, stating they rely on immigrants to work long hours because Americans aren't willing to do this work. Well, maybe it's because they get paid an average of $20,000 a year. Even though I'm no math Asian, $20K divided by the long hours, and let's say 45 a week, totals out to be something like $8 an hour, which is less than...
You know what? I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it because like I'm tired. But like I'm just gonna say it. Somebody told me basically that like the stuff I say is like disgusting, right? And so I said like, okay, like let's talk about it then. So like what did I say that's disgusting? Like, can you tell me like a thing that I said that's disgusting? And it was like, oh well, you know, and so I said like, okay, can you like reiterate to me like what my point was? Like, can you tell me what you believe that I believe? And they said like, oh, you dislike immigrants and queer people. And I was like, okay, so what have I said that like leads you to believe that I hate immigrants and queer people? Like, can you like tell me a thing I said? Like, can you paraphrase like something that I said along those lines? Right. And they just stopped talking. And then I waited, and then I waited, and then I waited. And then I basically said, like, listen, if you're going to accuse me of something like that, shouldn't you be prepared with like a thing that I said that you disagree with? Like, why are you saying this when like you don't even know what I possibly said? And like, I just feel like this happens so much. I feel like a lot of the time you try to like argue with people and it's like, like they just stop basically. Like they like won't even finish the argument. Like they'll call me like a fascist and a Nazi, and then when I ask them like, okay, can you prove it? They just stop talking. Don't you have a bunch of gay and trans friends? Yeah, I do. I've said many times I'm not even anti-immigration. Anyway.
Half the minimum wage in Los Angeles County. I'm really trying to keep this concise, but I really want to clearly illustrate how these anti-immigration protests, promoted by Democrat politicians, aren't actually about families, but protecting their essentially indentured servants. As in, they protect you from deportation so they don't have to pay you as much. So as we watch Civil War Part 2 finally break out, that looks an awful lot like the first Civil War, just know it's actually about the same exact thing from the same exact political party.
Like every single time, like Decoy has these videos of basically these people being incredibly racist, but then they don't even know like how racist they're being. It's pretty wild, actually. Like, I don't, man. And the thing is a lot of these people, they'll say these things and then they'll basically look at you and say like, oh, like you're fucking racist and like you hate immigrants. And it's like, no, I don't hate immigrants. I don't like illegal immigrants. It's like a very different thing. So the people that are not white, not all of them are immigrants, first off. Second, not all of the immigrants are illegal. And it's like, they can't make this connection. I just don't understand. Again, guys, I really like Decoy Voice's videos. Decoy Voice is trying to get to like 1 million subs right now. He's at like 899K. If you guys like his content, like you guys like see it here and then you really like it, like please go support like the actual like original creators as well. So I'm gonna send you guys a link to it. Give that thumbs up. Make sure you sub. He does a lot of commentary like every day. This guy's like on a grind. So anyway.